Hello, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Great. So, James, it's really nice to have you here and really lovely to see you. Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Um, my name is James. I originally come from Australia.
So, well, first of all, congratulations on winning the inaugural Royal Academy Music Prize. That's a fantastic achievement. I hope you're very happy
Yes,
and your motivation. How was this year's competition experience for you, James?
yeah, it was very good because COVID times, I can't really get out. I can't really socialize and go to concerts and do things. So this was a good experience to be able to play and to be able to connect with people again. It was
Mm.
very good.
And how was your preparation process?
It was good. So I'm learning like a bunch of pieces, and I needed to be able to play them. So, but because, you know, tough times, I wasn't able to play them. But this competition gave me the experience to record and to be able to share my pieces. It was
That's
good.
great. Yes, yes. So can you take us through your music learning journey? Because you said you came originally come from Australia. So when did you
Yeah.
move to the UK?
I moved here last February, I think, early February.
During the pandemic.
Yeah, during the pandemic, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best thing to do because I came and I was straight into lockdown. But yeah, because my father was here, so I was stuck in Australia with my mum, so I had to come over, and
Hmm.
then we finally made it, and it was good.
Oh, good. Yes. It's really nice to be with family when during the pandemic. I think that's really important.
Mm.
Um, so when did you first start playing the violin?
I started when I was 4 years old, and then I also started playing the piano when I was 4.5. But then I had to make like the tricky decision of which one do I want to continue with, violin or piano. And then when I got older, I realized I like the flexibility of the violin and being able to travel around with it. And because it's a
Mm.
very free instrument, you're not stuck sitting down with the piano. So I decided to just stop the piano and focus on my violin.
So it's been quite a few years that you've been playing the violin. So how are you keeping it fresh every day? So I guess you do quite a lot of practice on a daily basis.
Um, Practicing is like during the school day, obviously with a lot of works and GCSE exams for English schools coming up, it's a bit tough, but I've been able to drop some subjects and the school's allowed me to like study during school time to do my homework. And then when I come back home, I have less work to do. So obviously I have more time to focus on my music. And also with violin, I just probably, so I come home and I practice for about 3 hours or something. But it's flexible. I just start and then I do like my routine and all that. And I just don't really pay attention to the time. So that's good.
Yeah, that's nice to hear that you actually, when you're practicing, you don't really notice the time. It means that you are having fun with it. You are sort of enjoying yourself. That's fantastic. Do you have any sort of advice for other young musicians or perhaps maybe looking at a professional music path as well? What do you think in your music journey helped you to either build a really solid foundation or really helped you to keep your passion going?
Um, Obviously, don't put all your time into music. Even though it is your passion, you need to be able to do other things and connect with your friends, go on holidays, and like look at things to get more inspiration. So you don't
Mm.
just focus on like your music all the time, and then you get weighed down, and you sort of just feel like it's getting too much. So you need to be able to have outside inspiration. to be able to have the motivation to keep going with your violin and your music, whatever instrument you play.
Yes, I think that's a really good advice. So what do you enjoy doing outside of your violin and music?
I do enjoy mountain biking, so I go there to do that quite a bit around, like, there's trails around where I live, because obviously I live far from London. I live more on the countryside, so there's a lot more trails to be. And obviously enjoy connecting with friends outside of school. A good social life, it's good to have.
That's lovely. I like mountain biking as well, but I'm sure you're probably a lot better than I am at mountain biking. So where you live, is that more like a sort of a countryside rural area in London, in England?
Yeah, it's in Kent, like Sevenoaks, which
Mm.
is in the countryside, like a lot of towns and stuff.
Mm.
It's not in the city.
How long does it take for you to get to London from where you live?
Normally it takes around an hour to where I normally need to go, which is like all the colleges and that stuff, and also the concert halls.
Mm.
But sometimes it can take much longer depending on traffic, because London is always very busy and
Mm.
very
Mm.
hard to drive around. So I will need to be able to, like, take public transport around. It's much more convenient. But with COVID, I haven't really been able to do that. So I've had to
Mm.
drive everywhere, and it's takes quite a while.
Mm. So do you go to London often?
Yes, I go to London often for rehearsals and sometimes to see concerts and stuff like that.
And do you think, because a lot of our audiences probably haven't been to England yet, so can you introduce a bit of sort of the music life in London as a young musician? If they were to visit London for a weekend, what would you suggest them do?
Um, oh, because obviously I haven't been able to, go see that many music things in London because of COVID. But Royal Albert Hall is obviously a very famous hall, concert hall. Royal Albert Hall, Wigmore Hall, the Barbican, see some concerts there. You should go to the Royal Colleges, have a look around at that, and just try to see as many concerts, like, in different halls as possible.
Mm.
That's good.
Yeah, so we're really spoiled in London, aren't we? Like so
Yeah,
many different venues. The ones that you mentioned are the major ones, and also there's sort of smaller ones, St. Martin's in the Fields, and all these various churches always have live performances on, of course, in normal times and not during the pandemic. So I hope as we sort of open up more and more, you get to see more of these live performances and also go to live rehearsals and concerts to
yeah.
perform. Yeah. So what's the plan for the future, James?
For the future, I'm not too sure. I think I will have to find, like, maybe to study overseas in some areas, study music overseas, or you need to be able to have, like, a more broad community, I guess, not just in one area. So you need help from more different areas.
Do
I'm
you
not too sure.
do you mean wider community, as in you'd love to meet more young musicians from all over the
Or,
world,
like,
from
more
other?
like teachers and stuff from different parts of the world, so like America, or say Salzburg or Italy, different parts of Europe, they all have very different communities and they're all very good.
Mm, mm, yes. Yes, the music world is such a magical world, and I think in my experience, I've always enjoyed meeting people from the different community, from different cultures, and it's always nice to hear a different voice, right? To have a different perspective. So I agree with you. It's really nice to explore the world as a musician, and I'm sure as the world opens up after the pandemic, there will be more and more opportunities where you can just visit teachers or festivals and communities much more easily than we've been able to do for the past 2 years. and hopefully our competition and festival will be able to return to in-person format as well. And I can't wait to see you guys in person, and also to see you guys sort of just mingle and communicate and collaborate between yourselves in person. That's really beautiful. Okay, I can see that because I turned the comment off so that we can actually all see your face. And I can see there are some questions. Okay, I think there's one question that we can answer. So when I play music, should I open up and let myself shine? What do you think, James?
Yes, yes, of course you should. That's like the whole. That's why we play music, to be able to express ourselves. And obviously, you need like a technical foundation, so you can know like all the tricks and stuff to be able to express yourself, so you're not restricted. But it's always important to be able to know what you want to say when you play something, and know like what's the purpose, what's the point of this piece, and why it was written, and what you should portray. So yeah.
Yes, and I agree with James's answer. I think we should all shine whenever you play music, either on stage or even if you're just at home. We should always shine, because that's the point, right? That's why we play music in the first place, is to enjoy ourselves. And James, by the way, from what you said, so how do you find out what, how should I phrase it? How do you find out what you want to portray with a particular piece of music?
It should normally be natural when it comes to you look at it, you sing it in your head, and you can obviously research on the composer's intentions of the piece and see how other people play it. But when you start to play, you should have like a natural feeling towards it and how it should go. And most important thing is to always be like, obviously you should play it correctly to the composer's intentions, but you should be unique to how you want to, what you want to portray, so you don't just sound like everyone else. And I think that's important. So
do you, whenever you pick up a piece, do you always do research into the composer and also around the year when he or she composed the piece to find out the background stories?
Yeah, yes, I do, because you don't want to play something completely wrong, because there's always going to be people in the audience who know the purpose of the piece and know the composer's intentions of it. And if you play it completely wrong, then it's not good.
Yeah. And James, last question. Because clearly you are looking at a professional music career going forward. When did you make that decision, and why? Like, what helped you to make that decision?
Watching people perform, and when I got older, like obviously before it was just like a fun little hobby that I did sometimes. But then I performed and I saw other people perform. I was like, you know, I really quite enjoy performing and seeing people's reactions and entertaining people on stage. It's very good. So I decided to keep going with it, because I enjoyed it a lot.
Amazing. Great. Thank you so much. Many congratulations again, James. Very, very well done. And let's keep in touch. Let us know your updates and news, and if we can help with anything. Yeah, keep in touch.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you for tuning in.